Previously on 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. In fact, if you look at all the available 4-person teams, it turns out that none of the leftover teams comprised of 3 we can't open the doors or digital combinations that are able to open any of the remaining because the remaining 2
I think I'm gonna go with door 8.
Hello, denizens of the internet, and welcome back to 999. After a rather dramatic turn of events last episode, we find ourselves down 2 people. Snake, who is still missing, and Ace, who selflessly endangered his own life to ensure that the rest of us go forward without bickering. And to make good on his sacrifice, we will be splitting up once again and venturing beyond door 8. Let's get to it.
Okay, 8 it is.
Yeah.
Alright then, that means June's gotta go through 7.
What? Why?
Because there's no combination where we go together that doesn't use the numbers 1, 5, or 6, in addition to our own numbers. And since we can't repeat 5 or 6 by entering our bracelets twice, and we can't bring number 1 along at all because Ace is unconscious, there's no way to proceed.
What?
Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain.
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it.
Plan A.
Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
Plan B.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
Plan C.
Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. There are no other combinations. In other words, 3 and 4, and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes.
Oh no! You're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
I still say probably no longer than it takes to solve the puzzles on the other side of those doors. Junpei felt as June did. He didn't want to be by. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. I'm glad at least he can do that. June's really been struggling with it. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked over at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his reserve, and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, we've been debating it for the last few episodes, but I still think we're going to end up meeting back. I still think both groups are going to end up meeting back up on the other side of that blank door.
I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Well, I mean, no guarantees. She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected. Usually they just say it was 7 that spoke.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought that far ahead, but that's a good point. I mean, if you proceeded forward ahead with teams of 4 or something like that, I suppose it'd be possible to subtract 1 member and still open the number 9 door. But as things stand now, no combination of less than 3 people is able to open the number 9 door. And since neither team of 3's digital root is 9, we're gonna have to regroup somewhere along the line in order to finish the game.
In other words, the game would end right here.
And I really doubt Zero didn't think of that.
Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible.
Yeah, he really hasn't done a lot to impede us playing the game. I mean, the Nonary game seems to be the point, and I assume he wants not necessarily somebody to win it, but definitely to see it finished.
He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
I'm definitely with 7. June said nothing. It does make a lot of sense. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment.
You guys are done, right?
That's a pretty tame version of shattering the moment, considering he interrupted so casually that he was literally yawning as he did it. He stretched and continued. You know, normally he might have taken that moment to tell Junpei and June to get a room, but not being able to go through the numbered doors together and do that is kind of the dilemma, isn't it?
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 7 and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover?
I don't think she's gonna object. Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
All right, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7, and June walked toward door 7, while Clover, Lotus, and Junpei headed for door 8. Well, it looks like we're finally headed back through the puzzle rooms. Anytime we run across a set of the numbered doors and we have the opportunity to go into these, it seems like we manage to get on a fairly substantial detour before actually getting around to it. Although this wasn't as bad as when we met up the first time in front of the grand staircase and had to get the rules out of the way and talk about our abductions and all of that. Actually, compared to that first portion of the game by the staircase, a lot more was packed into this section. Snake's disappearance, the whole event with Ace knocking himself out, somebody messing with the Reds. Things have definitely picked up in pace a little bit. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. Lotus laid her hand against her chest and turned to Junpei and Clover.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then shall we go?
Oh,
It's open!
I didn't realize these doors slid open. A narrow hallway stretched out before them.
Okay. Hurry!
Technically, I think there's no rush until we've all actually crossed the threshold. Actually, no, I don't think there's a rush until the doors close behind us. That's when the 81-second countdown actually starts. Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. Oh, well, maybe they start when we actually cross the threshold, not when the doors close. The detonators in the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But, as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, toward door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met.
June.
Jumpy.
They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds. That is extremely specific. I guess you have to be when we're dealing with nothing bigger than a 9-second interval, though.
What the hell are you doing?
Wasting 1/6 of our time before the door shuts? I don't think the 81-second countdown actually starts until then. Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. Oh shit, you're strong, Lotus. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. No sound of metal on metal this time? His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep. Okay, yeah, Junpei's... Yeah, I really think... Because it seems like they'd all be on the same timer, and Junpei hadn't actually entered the room and activated his bracelet yet. So at the very least, it's got to be synced to the last person to enter the room. But I'm betting the common denominator that determines when the countdown to your death actually begins is the door closing. Because everybody has to be through the door by then.
81 seconds left. Hurry!
I'd say it doesn't really matter that much, but I don't think they'd agree with me. Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead.
Ugh.
Junpei and Clover followed her, as fast as they could. Well, at least it wasn't particularly hidden.
It stopped.
So far, only one of them has been, and even that was just at the end of a long hallway. With a shaking hand, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm. Aloof, perhaps.
Pointless.
Ah, shit. She's reaching I don't care about my own life levels of angst. That can't be good for where her character development's heading. Lotus watched the girls receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity.
What an unpleasant girl.
Yeah, well, people working in glass strip clubs probably shouldn't throw stones, I don't know.
I bet she's not very popular with the boys.
Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting than was, perhaps, necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl.
Maybe pairing these two together was a mistake.
Yeah, the moody teenager and the bitter old bat do make for a bit of an odd couple. I could see how there might be a little bit of friction there, but far be it for me to lecture anybody about female relationships. Could go better than we think.
Too late now. I better catch up to them.
After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed.
Oh, it's a dead end.
I mean, there's a door on the left. It's not really a dead end, right? The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a not-so-dead end.
There's a door on the left, though.
I mean, if it's locked, I guess this is a dead end. For a few minutes, they stood in front of the door, examining it. For a few minutes? Do they mean moments? Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it.
A laboratory?
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Yeah, I was having a similar thought when I saw that plate. Bringing it back around to Resident Evil again, there's never anything good in the laboratories.
Me either, but there aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices.
Junpei,
Huh?
please, you first.
Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect. Yeah, she wasn't very subtle about it.
Ugh, fine.
But everything's been more or less safe so far, I don't think it matters. Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but as he examined the room, it became clear that there was no imminent danger. Yeah, there haven't been traps or anything like that so far. Lotus followed him in, and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into that wall made it possible to see into the other side of the division.
You know, I think the window looks into another room.
Maybe it's for monitoring something.
Junpei walked to the window and looked through.
What the hell?
He wasn't sure what else to say. In the center of a room, shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lay on what looked like a medical exam table. I'm just glad they were working on robots rather than cadavers or something.
Looks so creepy.
It doesn't really veer too far into the uncanny valley territory, so I'm not particularly perturbed by it. Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to him. I guess it's got him on edge, though.
It's kind of like that doll is waiting for surgery.
This is a laboratory, right? I'd say it's more like it's waiting to be experimented on.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Lotus here. Surgery's the next door over. It's actually a very minor spoiler, but that's not even a joke. There is a surgical ward next to this.
Ooh,
It's creepy either way.
Yeah, but if we're just working with a... Well, I don't know exactly what we're working with here, but some sort of robot, I find this less creepy than the surgery ward.
You don't think that thing's gonna suddenly sit up or something, do you?
It doesn't look very dangerous. It looks clumsy, but I don't know, it has defined joints and everything. Maybe it's more agile than it looks.
well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If we press the wrong button, I don't know.
It's probably likelier we'll short something out than end up, fighting a robot. Honestly, that thing doesn't look designed for combat at the minimum.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
She was gripping her arms, the knuckles of her hands white.
Wait, where's Clover?
She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of calm, but it was drawn and somehow sad.
What is she?
There was something almost pitiful about her. Junpei walked over to her and, as kindly as he could, spoke.
Are you okay?
Clover looked away.
What are you talking about?
What? I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet.
What? I can't be quiet if I want to?
No, I don't mind. You seem calmer, at least, than you were before, and that's a step in the right direction.
Well, I mean, of course you can. I just...
Okay then. If I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together.
Clover bit her lip and was silent
you just
for a
don't
moment.
get it!
Huh. Was I holding the button down? I don't know why she spoke just then. Clover bit her lip and was silent for a moment. Then suddenly, she, snapped and yelled at me again. Her cry took Junpei by surprise, and he stumbled backwards a few steps, alarmed.
My brother's not the kind of person who'd just leave me behind! Something happened to him! Something bad.
Yeah.
Junpei had nothing to say, That's about where I'm at. Until we learn more about Snake, all we're doing is prying and upsetting Clover unnecessarily. Lotus, jolted from her mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned toward them.
What happened?
Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei.
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei or Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk quickly away.
Hey, wait, Clover! Hold on! That way is...
I told you to leave me alone!
He might as well have been talking to a wall, for all the notice she took of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made for a doorway cut in the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down... Wait, didn't they just say that? Not even slowing down and without... Yeah, pretty much.
Clover, watch out above you!
Yeah, we've got kind of a guillotine angle going on with the, door frame here. And that would explain it. And without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling like a port cutlass, sealing Clover in. Damn, between this and the freezer, we keep getting people trapped in other rooms in this route. Although this time we have 2 large areas to search rather than just the freezer. So this variation on the formula might require a little bit more teamwork at least.
What the heck? What's going on here?
Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could.
Hang on. I'll get it open.
Oh, for crying out. You'll never do it on your own.
Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. The 3 of them pulled as hard as they could, but... Huh, well, maybe that's what we need the robot for. Maybe he's strong enough to get through these. I wonder how many timelines Clover just got taken out by the gate.
Damn it! It's not moving.
Wait! Are you gonna give up? Just like that?
I mean, it'd be a pretty shitty trap if we could just lift the gate.
No, I'm not giving up. This has got to be another one of Zero's puzzles.
If it is, then there's gotta be a way to open it.
Junpei nodded.
Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
Huh. You know, I hate to say it, but looking at that positive response, I'd say the shock of sudden danger has her feeling a bit more herself. A laboratory actually sounds like a complex area to explore, but the map here actually looks pretty bare bones, surprisingly. Seems like the main feature of mine and Lotus's room is some sort of control panel and those storage boxes. And on Clover's side, we have that metal mannequin as the cyborg elephant in the room, along with the bank of cables running from the rear wall to its head. A window made of really thick glass. I don't even think a bullet could break it. Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. Just imagine him in his underwear if he makes you uncomfortable. Although, I guess in this case that would actually be adding clothes rather than removing them. Not that I know why that's supposed to make you more comfortable in the first place. Last thing I want to do in a stressful situation is do something that might lead me to pitching a tent. I wonder what this is. this thing here looks like a voltmeter. And this is the control for that? Gosh, there's so many dials. Why don't you try turning one of them? Nope. Nothing. There's no power here, guys. I turned the dials a whole bunch, but even if I turn all the switches on, nothing happens. Okay, but that bank controls the power. This I think is just a meter for measuring it. I think this thing is a monitor for whatever experiment they were running here. Yep. There's a bunch of stuff on here like resistance value and voltage. The power's off, so there's nothing on it right now. Alright, sounds like we need to get searching on this side of the room for a way to power... sounds like just about that whole room on over there. So these lockers seem like the first obvious place to check. Ethanol. So, drinking alcohol, then. Ethanol. I wonder if this is for antisepsis. Oh, it says anhydrous ethanol. I was looking for some alcohol to clean stuff with at one point, and I think I heard about this. It's like really high grade, 99.9% plus alcohol, if I'm remembering it correctly. If it's what I'm thinking of, it has to be refined in a special way so that, like, when it's bottled up, it doesn't absorb moisture from the environment around it or something like that. Except I thought that was only isopropyl alcohol that was like that, so maybe this is something different. Anhydrous? Is that different from the regular ethanol? Come on, that's common knowledge. Anhydrous ethanol is a powerful cleaner. It can even erase marks left by a permanent marker. I'll keep that in mind. So these are locked. A whole bunch of steel lockers. The 9 on the right all have little red lights on them. Red lights, huh? Well, can't hurt to give these babies a try. Yep, just as I thought. Locked tight, all 9 of them. I wonder if there's anything important in there. I mean, probably, considering they went to the trouble. What about these boxes? They seem conspicuous. There's some papers and stuff in them. What's in the boxes? They look quite full. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiments. But it's all really technical and stuff. I don't really get it. What about the bottom row? These lockers are a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. What about the boxes on the far side? Oh, I can't even examine those. But no signs of anything that would power the electricity on over there. Maybe we can control it from this PC. This is the computer. The power isn't on. Well, there is a power button. This is a waste of time. What? I don't see a power cable. Oops, yeah, you're right. No power cable. This thing isn't even connected to a main computer, though. It's got a monitor, keyboard, mouse, but that's it. Just sticking the power cable in isn't going to do anything. Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I guess it could be a wireless display. This is 2027, and that's not unheard of technology now, so it might be pretty actually, I would think it would be pretty prolific by then. But that is yet another device we can't activate. I guess if anything's gonna supply power, it's probably this thing. But I'm guessing it's similarly inactive. This is a really old type of keyboard. I think this thing's supposed to power that machine in the other room. Well, it doesn't appear to be doing that. I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on. Well, if you want to just put it in those terms, that's pretty obvious. It looks like we have a keypad here, but no key. The hands on the clock have all stopped moving. The clock may stop, but time goes on. No time to screw around. We need to figure out a way out of here. What about these? There are 2 levers here. Do you think that they activate something? Well, they're connected to something, to some sort of insulation that runs along the wall. If that goes to the next room, they might supply the power. I guess either way, it doesn't matter until we turn the damn thing on. Well, I guess she didn't have any luck there. Doesn't look like anything's happened. What's this thing? There's a lot of stuff here. All just jumbled together. It looks like a randomly it looks like a makeshift stereo system. I don't know how we could use any of these. Well, I can say for sure that I do know how to use at least one of these things. Which one? The one on top. I think it's a power cable. The power cable, huh? I'll take that. Okay, so that won't do us any good on Clover's end, but maybe we can get the PC running. This is definitely a power cable. Do you remember if we ran into anything that didn't have power? Yep. Yeah, I do. This monitor doesn't have a power cable. So, one end of this cable needs to be connected to a monitor, and the other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright. Huh. Well, shoot. I can't use this. What's wrong? This cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not gonna fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're gonna need a plug to change the power cable into one with 2 prongs. That's right. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna find that on this side, though. We've pretty well searched everything. Maybe there's something on Clover's end? I don't think I looked at this table, or this little rolling cart thing here. It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Any adapters? Somebody cut the outer stuff off the cables. I can see the wires inside. Doesn't sound like it. Hey Clover, how are the power cables over there? That's right, there's supposed to be a bunch of cables running between these devices. Huh? What do you mean? Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look. Guess she does have to kind of crouch down to get a look under there. The cable on the monitor has, it's got 2 of the little metal things. What does that mean? That's it. Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here? Okay, but... Well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you. Damn it, that's no good then. Well, how about just the plug? What? The plug? Well, maybe more like a, connector? It's a sort of thing that makes the plug with 3 metal thingies into a plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless? Not useless. Not useless at all. That's just what we were looking for. Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit? And back down she goes. Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it to you over at the bars, okay? Let's do it. Oops. Here. The 2-prong plug. Thanks. This is the 2-prong plug that we can use to convert the power cable from a 3-prong... why am I reading this? Let's just combine them. Okay. Put the 2-prong plug... Again, why am I reading this? It fits perfectly. This should be just what we need. Alright, I've got the 2-prong cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this will work. Under the desk I go. And let's get this plug, and let's plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, this ought to do it. Alright, let's turn the power on. I don't think anything's gonna happen. Why not? Well, it's not connected to the main computer. We've been through this, Junpei. You never know until you try. Pretty optimistic. Junpei pushed the button on the front of the monitor.
Oh, that worked.
With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen.
What?
He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's running on its own?
It certainly looks like it.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right?
Not in any way we can see, but it's connected, apparently.
There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display.
Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus. I mean, nothing's unreasonable about it.
A wireless display?
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly, hence the name.
Although the 4:3 looking aspect ratio of the thing and the beige bezel on the panel, it doesn't look modern, so I guess that is a little weird, but maybe they just modified it.
Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
He most certainly had not, but...
Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
Oh.
Oh, it's stopped.
Pass with a colon.
Looks like we need to enter a password.
Again? There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
May as well.
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus?
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left, then right.
All right. Let's kick some ass.
Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of keys running together like machine gun fire. Junpei's line of sight isn't really on her hands, though, is it?
Wait, what?
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't! You're typing so fast, I can't even see your fingers.
She literally has to measure it in words per second. Lotus grinned, pleased with herself. Hey, wait a minute. Are you already in? Are you benchmarking Crisis?
Well, at any rate, you're pretty amazing.
Did you fall for me again?
Whoa, what do you mean, again?
Yeah, I was gonna say not even for a first time. Glad those fingers do more than scratch your ass, though. Props to you for the insane word per minute count. If that metric even makes sense from the perspective of somebody writing code.
I'm not into you.
I know. Don't be so stubborn, shy boy.
I am not being stubborn, I am not shy, and I am not a boy.
Oh, hell. Junpei, next time just take the flirting as a compliment and move on.
I am a young, healthy, 21-year-old man. I'm not gonna fall for an old lady like you.
See? That's why I told you to shut up. I know eventually you're gonna say something to piss her off, and I don't need that right now. Suddenly, the guttural roar of a furious animal filled the room. Or, so Junpei thought, for a moment. Lotus's hands suddenly stopped, and her shoulders stiffened.
Old lady? Did you just say old lady?
To be specific, he used the word Methuselah. Ah, crap, Junpei thought. I went too far. Oh well. It was a nice life. While it lasted.
I've had enough of you. Go somewhere else. You're bothering me.
What?
Just listen.
Go see if you can find a password hint or something. I'll try and open this from here. You're distracting me. Go. Now.
Lotus waved her hand in the universal gesture of dismissal. Junpei was clearly not wanted.
Fine, I guess I'll go.
Time to cut my losses, Junpei thought, and left as quietly and inoffensively as he could. Junpei wandered around the room for a while, looking for anything that might help find the password for the computer. Unfortunately...
Nothing. No clues whatsoever. Clover didn't find anything useful in the laboratory either.
Actually, I think there is a clue I haven't gotten yet in the laboratory.
Damn. Looks like we've hit a dead end this time.
But, just as he was about to tell Lotus that his search had returned nothing...
All right! Bullseye! Junpei, I did it!
You leaked Zero's nudes? Excited cheering erupted from near the monitor.
What?
He hurried back to find Lotus looking rather smug.
Let me see.
She gestured for him to look at the screen, and he did. The strange text from before was gone. In its place was something entirely different. 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square.
What is that?
I don't have any idea. It just showed up after I cracked the password.
You think it's a puzzle?
It certainly looks like one.
Wait, so Zero locked this puzzle, this more mundane puzzle that presumably most of us can solve, behind something only Lotus could have accessed? I guess that's either a big oversight or he somehow thought this through to a degree where he realizes something we don't, and there's no scenario in which Lotus doesn't go through this door. Even though I'm sure one of the examples from earlier had her go through door 7. I think it was option A. I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at it when I edit. As she spoke, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
No, I can't do anymore. It won't let me do any more programming. See? The key... Nothing. So, there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Just roll with it, Junpei. She did most of the heavy lifting on this one. Just think of it as her having gotten us back for not doing anything when we were stuck in the freezer earlier. Honestly, I'm pretty grateful.
Let me take a break, all right? I did my part.
Well...
He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. That's what I'm saying. If any other team... Well, if any team not containing Lotus had come through here, they'd have probably been fucked. Unless Seven is also a computer programmer. But somehow I just don't see it. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself.
I guess you're right. Thanks, Lotus.
No problem. And make sure you know when you should thank people.
Now, I better take care of this myself. No more relying on anyone else.
Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen. Okay. And, in spite of what Junpei just said, we're gonna go rely on somebody else. Because there's a hint on this table I haven't gotten yet. I don't know what kind of table this is, but this part's all black. There's a pin lying over here. I think someone probably used it to make the table black. Well, if they only use the pin on one part of it, there's probably something underneath all that pin. Clover, do you think you can erase it? Yeah, sure. Oh, this is a permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker? Yep, alcohol. Part of the table's been colored over in black with a permanent marker. If I could find something that could get rid of that ink, I could hand it over to Clover through the bars. Oh, okay. I'm activating it in the wrong spot. Clover, use this ethanol. You should be able to wipe off that permanent ink with it. What am I gonna wipe it with? Oh, well, your clothes, of course. And she took exception to that. Kidding. Just kidding. Please don't look at me like that. You're scaring me. Well, I'm gonna assume she figures something out. Let's re-examine that table. Clover, can you use the cloth on the table? Oh, the cloth on... Oh, there's a cloth on the table. Use... Huh? Soak it in the ethanol, and then use it to wash off all the stuff from the permanent marker, okay? Right, okay. So I gotta soak the cloth with the ethanol. What, has she never cleaned something before? Well, she's got the cloth, but she seems to be having a little trouble with the bottle of ethanol. When she's ready, I should ask her to go to work on that stuff on the table. Damn, I have to do like a million inputs to get her to actually do it. Soak the cloth in ethanol. Oh, it's not freaking complicated. Damn, this is getting redundant. There we go. Junpei, it's working. It's wiping the permanent ink off. Huh? There's some kind of weird drawing under all the permanent ink. What's the deal with that drawing Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at the table. What is this, the 4th or 5th time I've had to look at the table? I wonder what this is. There are a bunch of numbers in some kind of grid. I can't see it from here. Clover, you've got a pen and a notebook, right? could you write down those numbers and then hand them to me through the bars? Okay. Roger. And that grid is the same grid we just saw on the PC, which means the numbers there are the order we have to press the buttons on the screen. Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk on here. Paper with numbers on it acquired. Alright, and that's added to the file screen. We haven't had to reference that very often. Clover's note. Okay, so go counterclockwise from the bottom right corner all the way up to the top left corner, and then hit the center. Maybe I should run over the instructions one more time. Or maybe not. Okay. Alright. I solved it. I mean, not really. I found the answer. Had a cheat sheet. Did you hear a noise just now? Yeah, there was a little click, wasn't there? Yeah, I did. It sounded like something unlocking. Oh, definitely the lockers, then. Where did it come from? I mean, it was right next to us. Should have been pretty apparent. Look, Junpei. The lights on the lockers are green. Then we must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle. There's only anything in the one locker? Let's see. We have multiple keys, apparently. This one is small, and it looks like it goes to some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it. So one of them is for a door somewhere else on the ship, and the other one powers up that console over there. I think the Earth symbol matches a keyhole in a door on the A deck. Well, if that's the case, we probably don't need the Earth key right now. Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Now, as for the other key, let's put it to good use. It was just at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for the moment and walked over to Clover.
What's up?
Well, never mind.
Ah. Damn it, what were you gonna tell me?
Hey, hold on a minute. What does...
Sorry, just forget about it. It's nothing.
I guess she decided at the last second she didn't want to trust me with something. She's making me nervous, though. Before he could say anything else, she spun around and ran back down the stairs.
What the hell was that?
I think she's having trouble confiding in anybody because she doesn't know if one of us might be connected to her brother's disappearance. After waiting a few moments to see if she would return, Junpei sighed, shook his head, and went back to searching. Alright. Let's power this thing on. This key, the shape sure makes it seem like it goes to this machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Okay, the monitor is on now, and it's full of letters. It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. That probably means the metal dude on the slab in there. Emergency system will activate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Emergency system like releasing the doors? Or Or like the fire extinguishing, or what? Yeah. What's our test subject going to do that warrants that? I mean, it does say abnormal subject behavior, but... Okay is about right. But it doesn't sound like it wants any input from us on this end. You alive, dude? There's something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something. What the hell were they doing in here? Huh? Why is she all quiet now? They were doing experiments on humans. Probably. Oh man, now she looks sad. This whole freaking scenario feels like they're doing experiments on humans. Although, hopefully they didn't do anything that straightforward. That'd be even creepier. Alright, so... It talked about subject behavior, so I'm guessing we've got to power this guy on. What does the voltmeter say about where he's at right now? This is the monitor. There are a whole lot of cables under this table. To be fair, I probably wouldn't have understood anything it could have told me anyway. What about the control panel here? Junpei! This thing here is on now. Yeah, that's because we activated the power over on this side. Could you, like, play with it a little? Ah, Junpei phrasing. Well, she's willing. I'll turn this dial here. Turn, turn, turn. Turn isn't an onomatopoeia. I wonder why she said that. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened. Well, maybe she missed something. Typical woman. No, I'm kidding. I should ask her to look around the room again. I mean... Where haven't we searched around the room? Like the sink? I wonder what they washed here. There are these weird colored stains all over the sink. I'm just gonna examine this again. Maybe if you increase the voltage? Roger. Will do. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to max voltage. Okay, not what I meant. Usually I'd recommend testing things out in increments so you don't... Especially anytime you're dealing with electricity. Max voltage? Hey! Wait, Clover! Oh, shit. What? I think, well, I don't think he's any threat to us anymore. But damn, the metal on that thing started glowing quick. That was some serious power we sent through there. Oh my god. The mannequin's head. Oh man, that sounds like a fire alarm. That's probably the emergency response the other terminal was talking about. Although, the only abnormal subject behavior that we can really point to is Clover, but whatever. Just don't know what possessed her to crank the voltage all the way to max like that. But hey, if it means escaping this room, I guess a W is a W. Fire detected. Fire detected. Please yeet yourself out the nearest emergency exit. The emergency system will be activated. Evacuate the room immediately. Alright, so the door over here is unlocked. The control device for the electronic door lock. The green light is on. I didn't mean to examine that. I wanted to examine the door itself. Junpei, look at the light. Yes, it's green. The emergency system has activated and disabled the lock. Now we can save Clover. Junpei! Come on, kid. Jump. Wait, she has to jump? Did the stairs not meet the door? As long as she's safe. Oh man, that smoke is some serious business. Yeah, there's... what, probably some plastic and metal alloy fumes in there? We probably don't want to inhale that. Let's get that door shut and get out of here. Time to close this door again, I think. Clover, are you okay? Are you hurt? Damn, she's coughing so hard she can't even talk. Of course I'm not all right. What the hell took you so long, you big jerk? I was almost dead. Well, I mean, I guess it probably doesn't take much to suffocate, but I think you're good. Sorry, I was going as fast as I could. I mean, other than us opening the door, which I guess couldn't be done from your side, we responded pretty much immediately. There was no puzzle to solve after the fire broke out. The room just opened up. You two can do this later. Right now, we need to get the hell out of here. That fire's not going to stay in that room forever. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that part of the emergency response system includes fire retardant measures. The skin is already melting and dripping off. I can see some of its metal bones. What are you doing, Junpei? Let's just get out of here. No, I want to look at it. There's a mannequin on fire on the other side of the window, but the game won't let me see it. Fine. Let's do it. You found it. Junpei, Clover, and Lotus leapt out of the laboratory, slamming the door shut behind them. And also slamming the door shut on today's episode. Because with that puzzle room completed, we have hit our next stopping point. No signs of Snake so far. I wonder if the other team found any clues about that. Hopefully we'll be meeting again soon and we can find out. But that'll be a story for our next installment. So, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or hitting the subscribe button so you can keep up with Junpei's struggle for survival in the Nonary game, where there are mysteries abound, and whatever happens, happens.